And a warm welcome to the program. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Our focus is on the South today. The newly appointed administrator of Rivers State, retired Vice Admiral Ivok Ete-Ekweibas, has arrived at the State House of Abuja. He's meeting with President Bola Tinubu to get a brief on his functions and expectations within the next 6 months as the man in charge of governance in Rivers State. Vice Admiral Ivok Ete-Ekweibas was appointed following the state of emergency declared on Rivers State and subsequent suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu, as well as House of Assembly members. President Bola Tinubu announced the appointment during a live nationwide broadcast yesterday, where he declared a state of emergency in Rivers State. The Rivers State government has called for calm following the pronouncement by the president suspending the governor, the deputy and House of Assembly members. Speaking through the Commissioner for Information and Communication, Mr. Joe Johnson, the government has urged residents to go about their businesses while describing the suspension of Governor Fubara as unjust. The Commissioner assured the public that steps are being taken to safeguard democracy and stability. He raised serious concerns about the role of the FCT minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, accusing him of being the principal actor in the crisis and queried why he still remains in office. The commissioner maintains that Governor Fubara has consistently prioritized security, governance and peace, even amidst political turmoil, and points to the reinstatement of the resigned commissioners and the implementation of President Tinubu's intervention measures as evidence. Meanwhile, the atmosphere within the Rivers State Government House remains orderly with no unusual military or police presence. However, there's a blend of old and new security personnel stationed at various points. While there is no overwhelming security deployment, slight restrictions have been placed on access to certain areas and offices within the complex. This is perhaps in anticipation of the resumption of the new sole administrator, as retired Rear Admiral Ivok Ete-Ekweibas. Despite the initial anxiety triggered by the declaration, Rivers State remains peaceful. Residents appear to have adjusted quickly, focusing on their daily activities while waiting for further directives from the government. Markets, schools, banks, and government offices remain open. The Senate has stepped down its first order of the day. That's a motion to approve the proclamation of a state of emergency in Rivers State, without providing much explanation for the delay. The motion, sponsored by Senate leader Michael Opeyemi Bamidele, was expected to be debated and voted on during the morning session. However, lawmakers unexpectedly deferred discussions till later. The motion, sponsored by the Senate leader, Senator Bamidele, states a clear worry over the escalating tensions which has paralyzed Rivers State and hindered the delivery of democratic dividends to its residents. Worry that there is a clear and present danger of crisis, as some militants have threatened fire and brimstone with security reports of disturbing incidents. House of Reps plenary also ended without any mention of the state of emergency in Rivers State. The Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Martin Emewule, has pledged to work with the new sole administrator. Reacting to the declaration of a state of emergency, the Speaker says the event comes amidst a deepening political crisis and breakdown of governance in the oil-rich state. In a statement, retired Honorable Emewule attributed the current state of affairs to what he described as the wrongdoing of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, whose actions, including serial disobedience to court judgment and orders, failures to govern in line with his oath of office, led to the crisis. He emphasized that the Assembly has no choice but to support the President's decision, even though it was not the outcome they hoped for, and expressed confidence that the sole administrator will act in the best interest of Rivers State and the country at large. Well, the PDP is having none of it. They've insisted that President Bola Tinubu has no powers to suspend a democratically elected governor. A statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary notes that the president violated the provisions of the 1999 Constitution by declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State. The People's Democratic Party further described the action of President Tinubu as a climax of a well-oiled plot to forcefully take over Rivers State. It argued that there is nothing in Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution that the President relied upon to grant him the exclusive powers to declare or execute the declaration of a state of emergency without recourse to the statutory approval of the National Assembly. The PDP also cautioned the administrator appointed by the President to respect the Constitution and ensure he does not take any action or step which is capable of derailing the smooth democratic governance in Rivers State. The Nigerian Bar Association, that's the NBA, is also kicking against the suspension, insisting that the president lacks the constitutional powers to remove appointed officials under the guise of emergency rule. In a statement released by its president, Afam Osigwe, the NBA argues that such actions does not meet the constitutional threshold for suspending an elected government official. The NBA says while a section of the Constitution grants the president emergency powers, it does not allow for the removal or suspension of elected officials. The statement adds that the only constitutional method for removing a governor or deputy is through impeachment as outlined in Section 188. The NBA highlighted that the emergency declaration requires approval from the National Assembly within 2 to 10 days, and until such approval is granted, the declaration remains legally ineffective. The political crisis in Rivers State has defied all solutions and interventions by statesmen and stakeholders in the state and country as the two political camps stuck to their guns. In this next report, we chronicle events leading to the declaration by the president.
It's been a journey of back and forth among the political gladiators in Rivers State, months after the handover of the mantle of leadership to Governor Siminalayi Fubara. The dispute has been over the control of the state political structure between the governor and his estranged political godfather and the FCT minister Nyesom Wike.
This governor today, he said he was not going to run, that my commissioner of finance, Isaac Kamalo, should be the one to run. At that point, I saw his face. He was gone.
Trouble began when the political camp of the minister accused the governor of going against the agreement of maintaining the political structure that brought him to power. A lot of issues were raised. Events began to degenerate with threats and counter-threats and lots of political maneuverings. On October the 29th, 2023, the hallowed chamber of the State Assembly was set ablaze by unidentified individuals.
We have gone to the assembly to see for ourselves what has happened. On my way there, I was shot at directly by the OC operation, or DC or whatever they call him. Directly, it's not. But it doesn't matter. Somebody will die, one way or the other. Either you die inside your house, or you die on the road by something. But so my journey today is, whatever it is that wants to happen, let it happen.
We see a situation where the legislature is being attacked and not allowed to perform. We cannot really understand why our own chamber will be burnt down because somebody does not want this arm of government to survive or to function. This is sad. This is a sad day for Rivers State And we know that security agencies will certainly do what is necessary to arrest all those who brought this bad news to Rivers State.
Subsequently, there was division in the assembly, leading to the emergence of two speakers and talks about 27 lawmakers allegedly defecting to the All Progressives Congress, the APC. This caused a lot of distraction.
Honorable Martins, and the Deputy Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, and all the 27 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, to our great party. The APC is a party for the people.
And the governor said he had no choice but to present his budget to a faction of three lawmakers. It was litigation upon litigation in the court of law, which climaxed in the Supreme Court judgment on February the 28th, 2025. The justices declared the local government election invalid, requested the governor to represent the budget, and also asked him to recognize the Martin Amewele-led faction of the House.
The only thing that we owe these states is peace and development. I am open any day, anytime for total peace in our state. Because if I have to govern and govern well, there is need for peace.
The last 2 weeks have been tense in the state, with the lawmakers threatening to investigate the chairman of the State Electoral Commission, the chief judge of the state. And the final one, the thrill spinners in the political cohesion of the state, was the issuance of the impeachment notice following allegations of gross misconduct.
If you have committed an offense to be impeached, what is wrong? Is it a criminal offense? It's provided in the Constitution. If you have committed an infraction of the Constitution and Assembly deems it fit to say you should be impeached, is it the first person that people have threatened about impeachment? Don't you know what to do? What is all this who about you that they will impeach? And let me tell you, and I have had people say, oh, if they impeach him, there will be breakdown of law and order. Rubbish. Hold on, rubbish. Nonsense. The truth must be told. I have told people, when law speaks, all this Asawana will die. And the law has spoken.
In Nigeria, a state of emergency is typically declared during periods of severe civil unrest. Historically, such declarations have been made in response to terrorist attacks by groups like Boko Haram, particularly in the northeastern states of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa. For instance, on May the 14th, 2013, former President Goodluck Jonathan declared a state of emergency across 3 regions following escalating violence. Earlier, on December the 31st, 2011, a limited state of emergency was imposed in parts of Yobe, Borno, Plateau, and Niger states, which included the temporary closure of international borders in those areas.
Let's give you more updates on the political situation in Rivers State. The president has sworn in retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete-Kwebas as the administrator of Rivers State for the next 6 months. The administrator was sworn in following a short meeting with the president. His appointment follows a state of emergency declared on Rivers State and subsequent suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odu, as well as the State House of Assembly members. President Bola Tinubu has sworn in the retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete-Kwebas as the administrator of Rivers State for the next 6 months. So we have more reactions to the political scenario playing out in Rivers State. A former House of Representative member Ogbonna Nwukwe has said that the people of Rivers State are still in shock and trying to wrap their heads around the decision by the president, as he believes it's one-sided. Also reacting to the declaration, the national chairman of the Action Democratic Party, Yabagi Sani, has described the solution preferred by the president as partisan and anti-democratic, as he believes that the president should not be tired of being a mediator between the affected parties before it got to this stage.
Most Rivers people are shocked by the pronouncement of the president. And the pronouncement of the president suggests a one-sided view of all that has transpired in Rivers State. There have been calls across board that the president should rein in his minister. But the president has chosen to play the ostrich, refusing to listen to public opinion, not just in Rivers State, but across the country. And it looks to us here in Rivers that this action was premeditated. It was either they were going to impeach Fubara, Governor Fubara, or they were going to declare a state of emergency. And all this, the horrid declaration of a state of emergency, when actually there has been no threat to the peace in Rivers State, is shocking. But the president anchored his argument on Section 305, his decision to suspend all democratic structures for 6 months. And of course, everybody knows there are processes through which declaration of a state of emergency can be achieved. But in this instance, I can say that most Rivers people are still trying to wrap their heads around the reason why the president did what he did. But it's obvious that as a father of the nation, he had heavily supported a few against a majority. But the issue is whether or not the president followed due processes as laid out by the Constitution. Section 11 allows the National Assembly to make laws in states where situations like this exist. Similarly, the governor of a state ought to be part of the process of the declaration of a state of emergency. It is only when the governor is not part of or has refused or failed to inform, invite maybe the federal government or the president, as the case may be, to declare a state of emergency, that the president can go ahead and declare a state of emergency. But looking at the Constitution and the framing of the Constitution, it is doubtful that the framers of our Constitution envisaged a situation where democratic structures will be demolished by a sitting president. In this instance, the governor has been asked to stay aside for 6 months, even the legislature. The question is, why is the president silent when it comes to Nyesom Wike? Why is he not saying anything?
In this particular case, we have only a case that affects only one state, and you have provisions in the Constitution that will allow democratic structures in that state to continue. If you want to declare state of emergency, it's fine. But you can declare state of emergency to take care of the vandalization of the pipelines, which of course is inimical to the economy of this country. The role of Mr. President as the father of the land is to call Fubara and find political solution. It's not a political solution. This is a solution that is partisan. This is a solution that is anti-democratic. This is a solution that's just, looking for, giving a dog a bad name to hang it. The president should not be tired of calling the governor. He could call the governor every day if it amounts to that, for him to maintain peace in Nigeria. He's always in the meeting with Nyesom Wike. Who he knows is one of the people that is a party to this crisis. In fact, if not the only issue in this matter, and why he has refused to deal with the issue of Wike. And today, you are saying that the Federal Executive Council is going to administer, Rivers State, where Nyesom Wike is an active participant. Is that not also anti-democratic? So this is the point we are making. Nobody's against Mr. President, but he is not acting presidential. That's what people have said. He has taken sides. In his speech, he didn't mention Nyesom Wike once. He just said parties.
To other matters now, the Federal High Court in Warri, Delta State has arraigned 4 suspects apprehended by Tantina Security Services in collaboration with the Nigerian Navy for moving petroleum products without proper authorization. Meanwhile, the Presidential Task Force on Petroleum Product Theft and Other Energy Crimes has reaffirmed its commitment to prosecuting more cases.
Today, the matter came up for arraignment. We read the 3-count charge and explained the court to them, and they pleaded not guilty. Not guilty count what borders on conspiracy, pursuant to Section 36 of the Miscellaneous Offences Act, Law of the Federation 2007, and count 2 dwell on dealing in petroleum product without the appropriate license. Also pursuant to section 117 of the Miscellaneous Offences Act, Law of the Federation 2007. The charge having been read and explained to defendants, all of them pleaded not guilty, and the matter will be adjourned to 5th of June for trial. We will resume this work. This was just 3 weeks ago, and as I speak now, we have 14 already that we have prepared charges with 5 charges against them, and the arraignment is coming up next week. We have another 7 on board that we have handed over to us, and we also prepare charges against them. And before the month runs out, we are hoping we confidently we are going to arraign up to 30 of them, and all the offences dwell in dealing in petroleum product without license, and also tampering with various pipelines within the South region.
They've taken plea, and my client has pleaded not guilty. The onus is on the prosecution to not prove their case. We applied for bail, and they indicated that they want to oppose it because of the nature of the offense. I understand the stand of the prosecution because an offense that carries life imprisonment. But then, by the time we bring a formal application, the court to consider the merits, and I'm sure that we'll be able to grant them bail.
In a bold move to address the escalating maintenance costs of the University of Calabar, the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Florence Obi, has unveiled plans to harness the power of online and distance learning programs designed to optimize resources, expand accessibility, and provide affordable, high-quality education to students. Speaking at the university premises, the VC explained that by leveraging on online and distance learning programs, the University of Calabar aims to reduce its maintenance costs while increasing access to education for students from all walks of life. This innovative approach is expected to have a transformative impact on the institution, enabling it to provide affordable, quality, and good education to a wider audience.
And I've said it before, that universities are, federal government fund universities by paying our personnel costs. We do not have money from federal government to run universities. Every month, federal government gives University of Calabar 13 million naira. Our electricity bill in a month is well over 60 million naira. Before now that we are having solar. So, meaning that even what federal government gives us as perhaps subvention or overhead is nothing to run the university. So we depend entirely on the funds from the students. But for how much will we continue getting these funds from the students? We need to expand the student base. We can also expand the student base because we need to have the carrying capacity if they are to come here physically. And that is why my administration introduced Open and Distant Learning Center.
Education officials from the Edo State Ministry of Education and a top management team from the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, have embarked on a tour of tertiary institutions to enlighten students about the federal government's zero-interest loan program. The team visited Edo State Polytechnic and the Ambrose Ali University, Ekpoma, where they addressed students concerned about interfacing with the NELFund online portal loan payment plans, amongst other concerns. Our correspondent, Jessica Olugusere, has this report.
The Edo State Commissioner for Education, members of NELFund's management team and other key stakeholders begin their tour of the 3 senatorial districts in the state with a stop at the Edo State Polytechnic, Use, in Novia Southwest local government area, Edo South, where students from some other tertiary institutions have joined them for the NELFund Nigerian Students Loan Application sensitization.
You click down and complete the registration, follow the steps.
The students receive, among others, training on accessing the NELFund loan application portal.
Here, for apply for loan, there are 2 types of loan you can apply: institutional loan and upkeep loan.
Dr. Padi Iyamu Emmanuel.
The Edo State government says the federal government's zero-interest loan for tertiary institution students would help ensure every Edo student is able to focus on their studies and realize their dreams of acquiring quality tertiary education.
We want to give you a platform to pursue your dreams. We want to reduce the level of dropouts in our society. We have cases of cultism, agberoism, and the likes. But this government is poised to make sure that we make a difference. We understand that if you have the basic education, you move on to the secondary, and you drop out, then it's not complete. We want to ensure that you have a continuous process. We want you to start and finish well.
What is the modality of payment? Because some students after graduation, no job, for example, how will they pay the federal government back?
The students' questions center mainly around payment plans for the loan, and these are addressed.
No matter how much the fees are, there is no peg to it. Nelfund will pay. All you need to do as a student is to apply. And once you apply, you just go back and rest. Be assured that your loan will be disbursed. You don't need to know anyone, not even the MD. So it's a very transparent system. And even after school, Nelfund can pay from your first year to your final year. And even after that, you are not mandated to pay immediately. You'll be given a grace of 2 years after your service year. And even at that, nobody will come knocking on your door until you get a job.
The team was also at the Edo State University, Yamo, where the managing director of Nelfund, Akintunde Sawyer, gives a beneficiary the opportunity to share experience utilizing the loan facility. Another stop for the Edo State Ministry of Education and Nelfund team was the Ambrose Ali University, Ekuma. Aside from these tours, the officials maintain that efforts are underway to spread awareness and encourage more Nigerian students to benefit from the federal government initiative. Jessica Olubisere, Channels Television News.
That's the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Melinda Akinwumi.